Welcome to Lumber Specialties, the leading manufacturer of building components here in the Midwest. You have been hired as a production technician in the manufacturing of floor trusses, roof trusses, and wall panels. As with all manufacturing, workplace hazards are a daily consideration. To prevent the likelihood of being injured while working, you must be aware of the hazards which exist around you. The following safety presentation will identify the workplace hazards which you will encounter while working in the manufacturing facilities here at Lumber Specialties. By being aware of these hazards, you will have the ability to avoid such hazards, keeping you and your fellow employees safe while working. During working hours, all employees must abide by the Lumber Specialties dress code outlined in the Production Employee Handbook and wear personal protective equipment. Safety glasses or prescription glasses with side shields must be worn to protect the eyes from debris. Noise dampeners such as disposable earplugs or ear muffs must be worn to protect the hearing. Safety shoes or boots being comprised of a steel or composite toe must be worn. Any employee wearing sneakers or tennis shoes will not be permitted to enter the production facilities. Safety gloves, although not required, are recommended. The most common injuries here at Lumber Specialties are cuts, scrapes, and slivers to the hands and fingers from handling sticks of lumber, banding, and metal connector plates. Safety gloves will protect your hands and fingers from these injuries. And hard hats. Hard hats must be worn in designated areas. Your supervisor will identify where hard hats must be worn in the production facilities. Lumber Specialties is a drug and alcohol-free work environment. The use, consumption, or possession of drugs or alcohol on the premises is strictly prohibited. Fire prevention and awareness is a daily consideration within the manufacturing facilities. There is plenty of fuel. Wood scraps, sawdust, grease, and oil are all present throughout each facility. This is why aisles and walkways should be kept clear of clutter and debris. At the end of each work shift, take 5 minutes to clean up your workstation. This includes picking up pieces of lumber, sweeping up sawdust or nails, and placing the debris in the proper receptacle. In case of fire, fire extinguishers have been installed throughout each facility. They are inspected on a monthly basis to ensure proper working condition. Each fire extinguisher location is marked with a sign on the wall and a black square on the floor outlined with a thick yellow line. Emergency exits have been clearly marked throughout each manufacturing facility. An emergency evacuation plan is also posted alongside each of these emergency exits. Safety in the truss manufacturing facility is reliant on an employee's ability to recognize workplace hazards during day-to-day operations. Each employee must have the ability to address and avoid workplace hazards before they become a threat to their health or well-being. Let's begin this safety presentation with a brief tutorial of the truss manufacturing process. The production of trusses begins with a certified truss drafting technician who designs a system of trusses based on the structural requirements of a roof system. When all of the components of each truss have been drafted, their design specifications are sent to the saw room facility. Sticks of lumber are picked from the lumber yard and taken to the saw room where they will be cut according to these truss component specifications. Cut truss components are then stacked on carts and stored for assembly. Once a truss job is ready to be built, truss components are carted to the truss manufacturing facility and stocked for assembly. Components are then assembled, plated, and the finished truss is stacked. When all of the trusses in a truss job have been stacked, they are banded together, picked up by a forklift, and delivered to the product yard to be stored for delivery. There are several pieces of production equipment in the truss manufacturing facility which have a zone of operation. These zones are marked with a thick yellow line identifying the area which a machine will utilize while in operation. Each machine is equipped with a flashing orange light and a buzzer which will be engaged during operation. Always look to verify that a machine is not engaged before entering its zone of operation. Trip hazards are present throughout the truss manufacturing facility. These include, but are not limited to, air lines and electrical cords on the floor, cart tracks for the plate and bedding machines, and loose scrap lumber on the floor. Safe maneuvering throughout the truss manufacturing facility is easily attained by recognizing and reacting to a potential trip hazard. An employee has significantly reduced their likelihood of tripping or falling. Be aware, when you step on or around air lines and electrical cords, you may dislodge the tool from your fellow employee's hands, causing them to lose control of the tool. There are several tasks performed daily within the truss manufacturing facility which may strain the lower back or body if poor body mechanics are used. Let's take a look at some of these tasks and see how to conduct them using proper body mechanics. Tasks including stocking truss components or metal connector plates will have to be performed every day within the truss manufacturing facility. To properly lift and carry such a load, bend at the knees, size up the load, then grasp the load, pulling it into the body. Lift the load with the leg muscles. Initiate any changes in direction with your feet, not your body, while bearing a load. Good body mechanics will reduce the probability of straining the lower back or body while performing routine tasks within the truss manufacturing facility. Carts are used to facilitate the transportation of truss components from the saw room to the truss manufacturing facility. Moving a loaded cart may strain the lower back if poor body mechanics are exercised. To move a cart, lean into the cart handle with your body, using your body weight to initiate movement of the cart. When possible, lean into the cart with the swivel wheels closest to you for maximum cart control and maneuverability. In some cases, a cart will need to be pulled rather than pushed. In these situations, take a wide stance with your legs and pull a cart with the arms. If you are unable to move a cart by yourself, ask a coworker to assist you. Never enact a jerking motion to initiate movement of a cart. While stacking trusses, it is difficult to line up a single truss with an existing stack of trusses. The stacking operator will often be required to manually reposition a truss after it has been stacked. While repositioning a stacked truss, bend at the knees, keep the back straight, grasp the end of the truss, and reposition it using the body or the arms. Never enact a jerking motion while attempting to reposition a stacked truss. Pinch points are locations between two objects where a finger, fingers, or hand may become pinched. There are several tasks performed within the truss manufacturing facility which expose an employee to a pinch point. By recognizing where a hazard exists, an employee can safely work within the proximity of a pinch point. Placing metal connector plates on the bottom side of a truss positions your fingers within a pinch point. While positioning a plate, use your hammer to prop up a truss cord and ensure that no coworkers are embedding a plate within your vicinity. These actions will protect your fingers from becoming pinched while located within a pinch point. After the metal connector plates have been embedded within a truss, rollers are raised through the production table to facilitate the rolling of trusses off of the production table for stacking. A pinch point exists between the bottom of a truss and the top of a roller. While rolling trusses off of the production table, push the truss with the palms, keeping the fingers parallel with the surface of the truss. If the end of a truss must be picked up, ensure that there are several inches between the bottom of a truss and the rollers. Staple guns are used to secure webs to top and bottom cords of a truss before a plate is embedded at this joint. These staples will deeply puncture the fingers or hand if a staple is redirected from its intended path of travel. While stapling a joint, depress the contact safety tip at the desired stapling location, then depress the firing trigger. Staple guns are not hammers. Do not use a staple gun to assist in the placement of a web within a truss. Metal connector plates are secured at the joint of a truss by hammering a corner of a plate into the wood. Securing small plates exposes the fingers and hand to injury due to the small surface area of the plate. While embedding a corner of a plate, hold one corner while hammering the opposite corner into place. Maintain eye contact on the desired location to hammer the plate in place until the plate has been embedded into the lumber. Avoid crossing the fingers or hand with the hammer while securing a plate at the joint of a truss. Using the circular or chop saw is a daily activity within the truss manufacturing facility. While using a circular saw, have a fellow employee hold the stick of lumber to be cut. Hold the saw with both hands in its designated locations from the moment the trigger is depressed to the time the saw blade has stopped rotating. For the chop saw, ensure that your hands and fingers are several inches from the saw blade. While cutting, ensure no one is in your vicinity who may accidentally nudge you or the stick of lumber being cut while a saw is in operation. Banding is a thin strip of metal used to cinch together bundles of truss components and stacks of trusses intended to prevent their dislodgement during transportation. Banding is extremely sharp. It is strongly recommended that safety gloves are worn to protect the fingers and hands from cuts or lacerations while banding components together. You may need to stand on a banding ladder while banding the top cord of a tall truss. Prior to mounting the banding ladder, the brake must be engaged and tested to verify that it is in proper working order. While standing on a banding ladder, a hard hat must be worn. Cutting a banded cart of truss components exposes the shins and feet to injury if a bundle were to collapse. To cut the banding around a bundle of truss components, first inspect the bundle, ensuring that it has not shifted during transportation. Then locate yourself behind the cart's corner posts. Positioning yourself behind the corner posts while cutting the banding will protect the shins and feet from injury if a bundle were to collapse after the banding is cut. During each workday, you will find yourself in the vicinity of a forklift. Forklift operators are trained to locate all people and hazards around them while operating a forklift. Carrying some loads may impair an operator's ability to locate people within their vicinity. Therefore, while working in the vicinity of a forklift, listen for them. Identify where they are at and stay clear of their intended path of travel. If a forklift is carrying a load, never stand below, under, or in the fallout zone of the load. The saw room is the production facility where all truss components are cut to the proper length and angles according to a truss's design specifications. Tasks performed in the saw room are fast-paced. Employees must remain vigilant of their surroundings while working in the saw room production facility. While in the saw room, do not operate or attempt to operate any machinery unless you have been formally trained by saw room personnel. If you need help or have questions, ask a saw room employee or supervisor. While operating a saw in the saw room, never reach into the saw while it is in operation. Before operating a saw, ensure you know where all of the emergency stop buttons and tripwires are for the particular saw being operated. Pinch points exist in several locations within the saw room production facility. All mechanical pinch points are clearly marked. Locations between uncut bundles of lumber and their entryway into the saw room is an unmarked pinch point. Pinch point locations will be identified by your supervisor or trainer. Keep your body and extremities out of pinch points while working within the saw room production facility. Employees working in the saw room production facility will be required to perform tasks on a daily basis which may strain the lower back or body if poor body mechanics are exercised. Proper body mechanics have been covered in this safety video and are encouraged to be exercised while performing these tasks. Using proper body mechanics will reduce the likelihood of injuring the back or body while lifting and carrying a heavy load about the saw room production facility. While working in the saw room production facility, you may find yourself in the vicinity of a forklift. While walking outside of the saw room facility, listen for forklifts being operated. Identify the location of a forklift and stay clear of its intended path of travel. This is especially important when a forklift operator is backing up from a stack of lumber. This safety presentation has been produced in effort to identify and inform you of the hazards which you will encounter while working in the truss manufacturing facility. Remember, while working, think safety, work safely.